Welcome to day 25. So, we are working on our intention of becoming a 6A2-3 or a -3, whatever is after the 6A, and the attachment part of it. So, looking at us being attached to becoming a 6A2-3. Yesterday, we worked on what the advantage is to that. Today, we are going to work on the disadvantage of becoming a 6A2-3. So our subconscious holds all kinds of mental chatter programs, and lots of times it's stuff that we have no idea or could even imagine us holding that thought form somehow or that belief system somehow. But it's amazing what is actually programmed within us that we don't even realize. So by doing this exercise of advantages and disadvantages with our attachments, and then the ongoing exercise that we're going to start tomorrow on aversions, that's what's triggering our subconscious. So if we, what is that, when you think about what is the disadvantage of becoming a 6A2-3, what pops into your mind? Whatever pops in, just write that down. That's the stuff that you need to let go of. It's stuff that's blocking you. So whatever that is. Nothing might come to your mind just because your ego is very tricky, so it's going to stop. It's going to want to stop you from, these major blocks. So you can write down nothing and work on that. And then the layers will unfold and you'll be surprised what can come up after you let go of the nothing. So I jotted down a few things that the disadvantage of becoming a 6A2-3. One of them is I'll have a lot of people depending on me. Another, I'll have to be disciplined, which can feel like a lot of hard work too. And I may be too busy. That's another thing. It's just I'll be too busy and I won't be able to do what I really want to be doing. Or whatever our mind can concoct. So let's look at I'll have to be really disciplined. The disadvantage of becoming a 6A2-3 is I'm going to have to be really disciplined, which could mean work hard and all of that entails that. So if we look at that and notice any feelings that might come up, allow them to be there, and just, could you let them go? Open that door window and I decide to let them go. Yes. Say yes to them. And what's underneath those feelings? Is it wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting safety? What's the want? What's that discipline? What's the want? Is it control? Let's choose control for this one. It can be any of the three or all of them, but we'll just use control for this exercise. So we'll put the first two steps in place. And that is, I must want freedom more than I want approval, control, or safety. I decide to let go, to be free. Could you let go of wanting control so you can have control? Yes. Could you let go of wanting control So you could have control. Yes. Which feels better, having control or wanting control? Having control feels better. Could you let go of wanting control so you can have control? Yes. Do you feel like you have control or do you still want it? If you still feel like you want it more than you have it, then go through that exercise again. If you feel like you have some control, then let's focus on having. Could you focus on having control? You can't want and have at the same time, and it's just a decision. So could you focus on having control? Yes. Could you have even more control? Yes. Could you focus more on having control? Yes. And even more? Yes. And could you have even more? Yes. And 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 what are you experiencing right now? A little more peaceful, calm? Are those feelings that were coming up, have they left, or are you still holding on to some of them? If you're still holding on to some of them, just open up that window, tuck your chin, and say yes to those feelings. Allow them to be there. Love those feelings. Could you surrender to those feelings? Yes. Surrender even more. Yes. And when we surrender, we're not resisting anymore. And that whole, when you resist something, it keeps persisting. So when you don't resist and you just surrender into that feeling, just give up into that feeling. It's remarkable when we just surrender and give up into that feeling how quickly it can just dissolve. And if it's not dissolving, then there's still some resistance going on. So, if there's resistance going on, could you just say yes to that resistance? And yes more. And even more. And even more. And even just the resistance to this whole exercise, could you just say yes? And even more. 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 And what are you experiencing now? Has the resistance disappeared? Are you feeling lighter? A little more free? From this space of more peaceful and quiet and calmer? Could you set that intention in place again and say, I allow myself to become a 6A2-3 effortlessly with ease. Yes. Yes. Hope you have a great rest of the day. We're going to start the aversions tomorrow. Aloha.